Hi, this is a demo of the pre-beta version of the CaboLabs OpenEHR Toolkit. I will show you how this works. I will log in with a user that has access to the advanced tools. I will show you that in a second. How can you be a user with access to the advanced tools? The first thing that you will see is some information about the archetypes and templates that you have in your account. Because that advanced tools allows you to store templates and archetypes, and other OpenEHR related resources. So you have access to the free tools. These tools are read-only, so if you use them, there is no information stored in the toolkit. All the free tools are read-only. But for the advanced tools, you can actually manage your templates, so you can upload templates here. Let's upload a template. Let's find one that seems to be valid, and it was added. And you will see details page for that template that was uploaded correctly to your account. So it is stored in your account. Nobody else will have access to this template. And you have some information of the template, of course, like the language and the root archetype ID, useful information. And then you have some tools that you can use for this template and for any template. For example, we have a JSON generator. This will generate a JSON instance considering that template, and will use the OpenEHR format. This will be compliant with the OpenEHR JSON format. This will could generate version or just the composition. The version contains the composition. Let's check that, and this is the part of the version, and here starts the composition. And this generates, considering the format defined in the structure defined in the template, the OpenEHR JSON format, and generates some random data for each node. We have random data generators for each type of data value in the OpenEHR model. So for text, it will generate just this nonsense text, but we have also, let's check here, for dates and times, we'll generate some random dates and times compared with the OpenEHR date and time format. Also will generate some random values for the quantities. For the quantities, it considers the units and the limits defined in the template to generate the data. And yes, texts, dates, booleans. Even for multimedia, we have generators for multimedia. Proportions, all the data types. So this is something that is useful. Let's go back to this one that was uploaded recently. So I can do the same, but using the OpenEHR XML format. This is the OpenEHR format defined in the OpenEHR XML schemas. So if you work with XML, you go here, you have some information about the template. We will add this also to the other screens. And I could also generate version or composition, and I could add or not the participations part. I could generate just the composition, and we have a composition in XML. All these XML and JSON files are actually stored in your account also, so you can access them later. I will show you that in a second. So you can generate as many of these documents as you need. And the use for those documents that are generated is for testing actually clinical data repositories that are compliant with the OpenEHR standard. When you want to load test your servers, basically you need a bunch of documents, and this is a good and fast way to do that. to generate some test documents. Yeah, and we actually use these mechanisms to test the EHR server. That is our backend, OpenEHR backend. Another service that you have here is the template dependencies. So it's just a display of the archetypes defined in the template or that the template uses, and their references, because one archetype can reference to many other archetypes through slots. So basically this is showing that in the root you have an encounter archetype. Inside the encounter archetype, it has the reason for encounter, a section for the vital signs, an observation for exam, and an evaluation for diagnosis. Yeah, and inside the sections it has the reference to the blood pressure. Yeah, this is a very simple document. Template is also for testing, but this tool is very useful when you have big templates and you want to just at a glance know what is inside. Yeah, so what you use there, and also it's very useful to know which versions of the archetypes are you using inside that specific template. Yeah, it's very useful for template management also. Yeah. Let's see, another service is this JSON instance generator. This JSON instance generator is not generating the OpenEHR JSON format. It's not this one. What it does is takes the XML and transform the XML directly to a JSON, and this is the result. So I will show you that. So I will create a composition, for example, and this is a transformation from the XML directly to a JSON format. We use this service because the EHR server actually supports this. Yeah, so we use both formats to test. And the good thing about this is that it's a direct and bidirectional transformation from and to the XML, because we can transform this to the exact XML that was used to generate this JSON. Yeah, and this is also stored in your account. I will show you that in a second. Yeah. Other services that we have, and we will be adding more services, is the archetype nodes. So you can check which nodes are defined inside this template from the archetype point of view. So this will include all the archetypes referenced by this template. So these are the archetypes in that dependency view that I showed you before. But for each node defined on each archetype, it shows the path of that node and also the type of that node. Yeah, and if that node is translated, the text of that node is translated to different languages, we'll show all the languages here. Yeah, but this will be, because this is related to the template, this will be just in the language of the template for now. Yeah, so this is a good way to check which nodes do you have inside the template. Yeah, and these paths are relative to the archetype that defines those this specific node. Yeah, so for example, this we have a slash is the root node of this archetype. So this archetype references an observation. Yeah, and anything inside is a relative to that root observation. Yeah, so this is very useful when you are working with templates and archetypes and doing some stuff with the data inside, maybe queries or data mappings. Is very useful. And we have also the template nodes service. Is similar to the archetype nodes service, but this will show each node and the absolute path for each node, and this path is relative to the root of the template. Yeah, so you will see that slash here is really a reference to the encounter. Yeah, and then we have the full paths here. Yeah, these are absolute paths. So with the template ID and one of these paths, you can reference any node inside that template, even if it's defined in a different archetype. Yeah, but all the archetypes are defined here in the paths. You can see the reference to each archetype, and from the archetype we have a relative path relative to the root, to the archetype root. Yeah, and these paths that are relative to an archetype root are shown in the archetype nodes service. So we have the absolute path, we have the type of each node in the reference model, and we have the name of each node. This is the name in the language of the template. Yeah, because the templates have just one language inside. So these are the tools that we have right now for templates. Yeah, and as I said before, each time you generate an instance, it is stored. So if I go to compositions here, you can see all the instances that I generated. For example, this one was the first JSON instance that I generated. Let's see, this is the OpenEHR format. This is the OpenEHR JSON. Yeah. Also with random data inside. So this is the one that I generated. We will add soon a button here so you can download this this file. Yeah, and in very soon, we don't have a date yet, we will add bulk generation and download functionality. Yeah, for example, if you need 100 of these documents to test a server, we will generate those 100 and will allow you to download all the 100 documents. Yeah, so you can test your server with those documents. And let's go to the archetype section. Also, you can upload the an archetype. Let's see if I have some archetypes here somewhere. I think I have some archetypes here. Let's upload a procedure here. What it does is it validates the archetype, and after it is validated, it is uploaded, and it is stored also in your account when you have a subscription account. I will show you that in a second, how that is done. So you can see some information about that archetype that I just uploaded, and we have just one service for now. We will add more services later, and this service is very useful. Is actually to generate a CSV from the structure of the archetype, and this is very useful because you can use it for data mapping. Recently I used this tool for mapping fire resources into OpenEHR compositions. Yeah, so what you have here in the CSV, and I opened this in a spreadsheet application that is very useful to have when you are doing data mapping. So we have here the archetype ID of each node here. Because this is generated for one archetype, this will be the same. The path of each node, yeah, the type in the reference model, and the type of the constraint that defines each node in the archetype object model. This is the constraint model type, and this is useful to find archetype slots. So you can see here, here. What else? Here. Wow, we have here a couple of more. Yeah. So the archetype slots are references to other archetypes. So when you see an archetype slot here, you know that the nodes related with this node, this node is a reference. So the specific nodes that will be here, or the specific data structure that will be here, is really defined in another archetype. So you need to do the data mapping on the other archetype on other CSV file. Yeah, so it's useful to have this here. We also have the node IDs for the nodes that have node IDs, and then after that we add one column per language, because the archetypes can handle different languages, and for each node that has a node ID, it can define the name or the text associated with that node. Yeah, so we add as many columns here as languages this archetype has. Yeah, here we have just English and Spanish. So this is useful to know in your language what this node is about. Yeah, because if you look at the path, you don't know what this is about. You need to check the archetype And having the names here, you don't need to check the archetype, really. Yeah, you have almost all the information that you need for data mapping here. And I use this for real projects. So what I do, I will show you my process and how this is useful. I open this in a spreadsheet application. So the CSV is just a text file. The spreadsheet allows you to do stuff like this. For example, what I do is I divide here. Let's look for a color here. And what I did recently, I actually used this tool, is I mapped some Fire resources to OpenEHR compositions. And the composition is defined by a template, and a template has references to many archetypes. So what I did is for each template, I checked the dependencies first, and I used actually this tool, yeah, the dependencies tool to check the dependencies. Then for each archetype here, I generated the CSV, yeah. And when you end here, yeah, with the CSV, what I did is I actually added here on the right the model that I needed to map to my OpenEHR model. So here, for example, for Fire, we have resources. So we have resource. We can have profiles. This is what I did. And we have attribute names. So for example, attribute. And we have types. Yeah. And you can have more columns. Yeah. For example, for the choice nodes in Fire, I put here the choice type. Yeah. But to keep it simple, this is just to show you the idea, the general idea. Not showing you actually how to do data mapping, because that could take an hour or so. So for example, here I say, this node that is a text is really mapped to, for example, resource observation in Fire, and we are using, for example, the body temperature profile. Yeah, so it's a specific profile in Fire, and the attribute is, I don't know, code, and the type of this, I don't remember, but I think it's coding or something like that, or coded text, or yeah, so something like that. So what I do here is I put the specific nodes that I want to map to my specific OpenEHR nodes. So, and then when I have a mapping, what I do is I just paint, for example, something like that. So I know this node is already mapped. So I do this for as many nodes as I need, and at the end I have most of the nodes that I need mapped to Fire, or from Fire to OpenEHR. Yeah, and I do that for all the archetypes in one template, and then you have a clear design of a data mapper. Yeah, then you need to write code and do the mapping, and you can actually, if you open that in a spreadsheet application, you can actually save this as spreadsheet format. This is the open document spreadsheet format. I can save it, and you can actually save it with the archetype ID. Yeah, and you can open it again, and you can continue doing your mappings in a spreadsheet. Yeah, so this is very, very useful. I use this a lot, yeah, for doing integration and data mapping. I told you that, yeah, the instances I generated here, for example, the XML instance is there, and the other instance that I generated, that is the transformation from the XML to a JSON, is here. Yeah, and you will see that you have some limits. Yeah, for example, this user has a pro account and has one of the 100 archetypes that he can upload, and 2 of the 30 templates that he can upload. So we use this to control the resource consumption of the server, basically. And the way you can get access to the advanced tools and to know the limits that you can use, I will just log out, and you can go here. So this user has a pro account. So the limit is 100 archetypes, 30 templates, and 500 objects. Objects are the instances that you can generate. We will add later a form generator. So the forms that you store in your account are also objects. Yeah. So every object is something that you generate from a template or an archetype. Yeah. So we have different levels of storage here. Yeah. So if this is not enough, you can go to premium and you have more bandwidth here. Yeah. You have a bigger storage. If you need more than this, you can talk with me, and we can find a solution. Yeah. But for the beta, all the free users will have a pro account for a couple of months. So you can check it out, you can test it, you can use it as you are a pro account, but without paying for that. And the idea is to get to know what you think about this toolkit, to get early feedback, to know what works for you, to know what is not working for you. Also, if you have suggestions of new tools, ideas for new tools, we want to add more tools to this based on usage and real requirements. So we want to know that, because we want to make something useful for the OpenEHR community, and we also want to use these tools. We are using these tools actually, and this is why we created this, something that is maybe is useful for us, maybe is useful for you. Yeah. So here you have some idea of the tools that we will have. We will add an API later, for example, to allow you to access your information from an external application. We have the idea of having a comparison. For example, if you upload two templates that are very similar, so you can compare them and see the differences between them. We will add the download of resources. If you generate a lot of compositions or a lot of forms, or you upload a lot of templates, a lot of archetypes, to provide you with a download functionality that you can use just to download all your data. If you need that to be locally available in your computer, maybe you are giving a demo or whatever, and you don't have internet connection, so you can download everything to your computer. So I think these new tools will make a great difference. I think the API will be a great addition. Sometimes I need this, actually need this to show how this works, or for a workshop or a course, or actually for an application when I need simple access. I don't want to store on every application I create to store the templates locally. So this is a really good way to access your templates. Another thing that we are thinking about is, because these accounts and account levels are for individual users. Yeah, we want to add some kind of support for teams and companies, so you can actually share your templates, archetypes, resources, other objects with your colleagues, and you can upload that template and you can share that in your company or team account. Yeah, so we will work on that if people require that. Yeah, we will try to support that, of course, if it is cost effective, if we can maintain the servers with the revenue we are generating from providing the subscription service. Yeah, the idea is to make this sustainable in time, and to provide a very good and stable service, and to allow us to add more and more tools. Yeah, so the idea is to have a set of tools to start with, but we will add more and more tools. So if you test this, we want your feedback, we want your comments. And the way you sign up for this will be available soon, is you can go to there is a URL problem here. I need to fix that. There is a URL problem. I need to fix this. Very simple. But the idea is you access the home, and you can just click on Start Now. And if you click on Start Now, this will describe what you are signing to. And if you go here, you are just signing to the free account. This is the same as going to pricing, get started. Let's do this. And after you fill this, you will receive an email. The email is to reset your password. So the access to the tool is using the email and the password that you set after you receive that email. And then you will have, during beta, you will have a pro account. You don't need to sign up to pro just now. If you want to actually support the project from the start, you can actually sign up for a pro account. And if you sign up for a pro account, after you fill this form, it will ask you to pay the subscription fee. And that will help us very much. To continue working on this tool. This is a starting point. This is the result of several years actually generating these tools. These tools were generated in a per requirement, per project way. So we generated these tools as we needed them. And right now we are actually integrating all the tools that we created into one toolkit. So that is what we are trying to do. I hope you enjoyed the demo. I hope you can sign up and you can support this. And if you have any questions, comments, ideas, please let me know. Thank you.